Hello, welcome to the Chit Chat Knits podcast. My name is Darcy, and I'd love to sit down and talk with you today about some of my making over the last week or so. So I hope you will grab a drink, grab your crafting, and let's have a chit chat. Well, let's first catch up. So when I saw you the last time, I was wearing my arm sling because I broke my collarbone. If you watch the podcast, you know that. And I'm doing really well, doing great. I'm about 3.5 weeks since I fell, and things are going well. I still wear the sling, and I'm not back on the bike yet, but I'm doing well. So thank you to everyone who left their comments of well wishes and happy healing. It's all going well. So you might have noticed we're in a different location today. It's a beautiful Sunday, late morning. It's cool. And so I thought we would just meet out here on the screen porch. It's a great day to be out here. So I hope you enjoy this setting for a little bit. It has a pretty northwoodsy look because we are in western Wisconsin, in the northern part of western Wisconsin. And so I hope you enjoy the setting for today. All right, look what I'm wearing. It is a Ranunculus. I had been looking at this pattern for so long. You know, it's been in the top hot right now on Ravelry forever. And I had never made one, and I thought, what is it with this pattern? And let me tell you, I really enjoyed making it. I actually knit it probably in about 4 days' time. So along with knitting other things. So it went together very quickly. I always think to myself, especially with a sweater, I sort of gauge my success in my knitting. My question I ask myself is, would I knit it again? And the answer is yes, I would. I really like it. I'm going to try to get a picture and put it somewhere up here so you can see the full sweater, but I love the way it turned out. I used let me see here. I used just some Cascade yarns, 220 superwash in the sport weight. So this is 136.5 yards in 50 grams. And it's this deep purple colorway. I really love deep purple with lime green, and you can't really see it here, but I have a lime green tank top underneath. So in this lacy section, when you're, in real life, you can see a little bit of lime green peeking through. So this is 100% superwash merino yarn. And so it's warm. It's been a little too warm to wear it, but today it's nice out here on the porch, so I thought I would just put it on, and it's really comfortable. It's going to be I did a shorter sleeve. I think I would really like it in a 3/4 sleeve length too, and this yarn would be perfect for that. So I might have to get some more and do that because I think it'd be great for going into fall. I also chose to make it a little less ease than the pattern calls for. So I used my gauge, and I actually went down to the smallest size to make it. So I didn't want it to be a real loose sweater. And I also went a little bit longer in the body length so that it would, I didn't want it to be cropped, and I didn't want it to be super boxy. So those were the things I did to make it really comfortable for what I wanted. So I just wear it with high-waisted jeans or a skirt. So, and I think I had 4 or 5, I must have 5 50-gram skeins, and this is what I have left. So not too bad. I do have some skein of lime green too, so maybe some, this would be fun to stripe up some fingerless mitts with what's left. That'd be fun. Anyway, I loved knitting the Ranunculus. Now I understand why everyone has purchased the pattern and knit it, because it was really a fun knit. I did it on a size 10 needle, so that's probably why it went so fast. But I love these type of yokes where you're going from, you know, one section to the next section. It just motivates me to get to the next section and keep going, keep going, keep going. So have you knit one? I know the Love Note, I've knit that a few times, and that's kind of similar. But yeah, I like this. I would knit it again. Have you? Have you made one? And you know, and the thing is, you can make it in any yarn, any size yarn, any texture yarn. It's really a versatile pattern. So now I understand. It's a great pattern. All right, so a lot of finishes this week. We're going to talk about my knitting, and also I want to talk about some quilting, because I do love quilting. I had shown a quilt maybe on episode 2, the color duets. So I'm going to talk a little bit later about some quilting that I want to work on this next week. So before we do that, though, let's look at some finished objects. So I think last time I did share with you my crisscross socks. Here it is. And this yarn is by Fangirl Fibers, and it's called Boo to You. And this pattern is now live on Ravelry. It is current, live, ready for you. So I hope you'll go out and get it. It's a top down. I've written it for 3 sizes, small, medium, large, a 56 count, a 64, and a 72 count on size 1 needles. And it works great for solid or tonal. And I had one of my testers even did a speckled, and it's beautiful in the speckled too. So you can, you know, use a contrasting cuff, whatever, heels, toes, however you like to do it, but a pretty versatile pattern. Has this very pretty cable down the front of the leg. So anyway, I hope you go out and get that pattern. And this is I just looked it up. This is pattern number 50 on Ravelry that I've designed. I can't even believe it's 50. I did not ever anticipate this happening, but I just love coming up with ideas and designs. And so as long as I'm loving it and getting inspiration, we'll just keep going. So I hope you go look at my patterns, because crazy, 50. I can't even believe it. So anyway, maybe we'll do a little something special this week for 50 patterns, but crisscross socks. Okay, and then I think I showed you a little teaser last time of something that I've been working on, the Spesh cowl. Spesh is sort of a slang for special, and this pattern is intended for that skein of yarn that you purchased, that you just love. Maybe it's been in your stash a while and you want to do something special with it, but you haven't been sure what to do. So I'm going to show you today. This is my Spesh cowl, and the yarn is by Getting It Faced in Colorado. The colorway is called Exploration. It's a fingering weight, so 400 some. Of course, you can't find it on here. Yards per 100 grams, so just your basic sock weight. But here's the cowl. This is called the Spesh cowl. I'll show you a little bit. Just an easy to wear bandana style cowl. And it's got a rolled top edge, rolled bottom, sort of a slip stitch, comes down to a V, a simple pattern, easily memorizable. Makes a pretty fabric. It's in testing right now. So by the end of August, we'll have this pattern out. So just a fun one to knit. And I've also finished another cowl. I told you a while back, I think, well, maybe even last time, I might have shown you this, this yarn, and now it's a cowl. So this is my Knit Chat cowl. There's a knit along going on. It's called the Knit Chat Cowl Cal, K-A-L. And this is being hosted by Michelle of the Naughty Knitwits and Carrie of Carrie Makes Stuff. And here it is. This yarn is by Woolens and Nosh, and it's their colorway Pretty Felt Garland. Here's her note, Woolens and Nosh. Who couldn't love a sheep on a pie? Anyway, I can knit this so fast. This pattern just flies off my needles. And I like this bandana style cowl because it's like wearing a shawl, but it's easy to wear. It fits nicely on your shoulders. No fuss. You could even put, you know those leather shawl cuff things would even look cute on there. But let me show you this color. Now, oh, let me hold it up. You can see it better if I do it this way. There it is. So this is a Christmas colorway. And I wanted a cowl to wear at Christmas time. So this will be put away, waiting for Christmas, because in my ukulele group, you know I love my ukuleles group, we wear red, deep red shirts. So this is going to be great for Christmas time with my ukulele shirt when we go out and have performances. So this is going to get tucked away, ready for Christmas. The last 2 years, the ukulele group has played at the Mall of America. If you're familiar with the Mall of America, it's in Bloomington, Minnesota, which is about a little over an hour from here. So I'm really hoping that we get back to the Mall of America this year so I can wear my cowl when I play there. So anyway, the Knit Chat cowl, and there's still time to get in on the Knit Chat cowl. It's on Instagram. I'll put some hashtags in here and link it. So 2 cowls finished, socks, and a sweater. I've been knitting. It's been hot, so it's been the perfect time to be inside and knit, or even out on the pontoon boat or whatever. It's been great. So I told you I have another yarn to show you, but before I do that, I want to talk about the project I'm planning to work on this next week. I have a group of friends, there are 8 of us, and we are all quilters, and we've been getting together for, oh gosh, a long time. And this week we're going to a retreat house, so I'm really looking forward to having some quilting time with my good friends. And one of the projects I want to work on is, well, let me just show you. It is an English paper piecing project. So I thought I would just explain a little bit today about, this is a historical, not only English paper piecing, but it's also sort of a historical project because it is made of Feedsack fabric. So let me explain what this is all about. Now, if you just came here for knitting, I'm sorry, but I find it really fascinating, this whole phenomena of Feedsacks. So this is a book that I picked up earlier in the spring. It's called Feedsacks by Linzee, Kull, McCray, and it explains what Feedsacks were. So they were fabric bags that products like sugar, flour, chicken feed came in. And at first they were just like this, where they were just flour, they were just white with maybe the logo of the company. But then in the 1930s, when everything, when people didn't have money, they started coming up with making these bags that these staples were sold in out of pretty fabrics. And so I have some pieces here to show you. So these are all Feedsack fabrics. You can see I've cut little pieces out of. Here's one on this side. Pretty cheery fabrics. Here's one that's a little more geometric. Red and blue. There's another one that's kind of red and blue. They came in all different colors. A lot of them were flowered, floral prints. And you can tell it's a Feedsack fabric because the weave is looser. You can't see that. But, the texture of the fabric it's not a real tight weave. So that's always one hint if you're looking at old fabrics, the weave will be looser if it's a Feedsack print. And they were done from, I think, it's in the 1930s to the 1960s. And my mom talks about having to go with her dad, my grandpa, to the feed store to pick out the right print so that he would get a good print, that grandma could make dresses, because my mom had two sisters, so there were three little girls, and grandma would sew dresses from them. And my mom said she just hated those Feedsack dresses because you could tell that they weren't store-bought fabric, store-bought dresses, so she hated them. And she just, years ago, I remember I was looking at Feedsack quilts and with her, and I just said, oh, I just love these. And she's like, you love those old fabrics? I had to wear them. I don't. I think they're awful. But to me, they have a great nostalgia, and I really love them. So if you're interested in Feedsacks or just want a good historical interest, spit that out, book, this is a great one. Has a lot of actual pictures, photos, advertisements. So here's an advertisement where they gave you ideas of things to do with Feedsack fabric. So it's a fun book to look through. But here's my project. So a few years ago, I was in an antique store, and I actually found these Feedsack prints, and they're already cut in a hexagon shape. They're kind of wrinkled up, but that one's a wonky one. But a lot of them were pretty nicely cut in Feedsack shapes. So a traditional hexagon quilt was called a grandmother's flower garden, and the block looked like this. So you have 6 hexagons in a ring, and then usually a center one, and then they would be often placed next to each other in a quilt. Well, I used these little pieces that I had gotten and put them together, and then I sewed them on the background, this off-white sort of print, and then took other little pieces of Feedsack that I had and to square out the blacks. So I have a lot of them. Here, I'll show you a different one. Here's one with blacks and pinks. You see, I have a ton of these blacks made, and I'm down to, I have 4 blocks left to make, and then I can put together my quilt top. So here, well, 3.5, because I already have a starter one. Each of mine, I've put a polka dot fabric in the middle because I love polka dots. So there's a pink one with some teal polka dots. Here's a gold with red in the middle. Isn't that pretty? So they all have different polka dot centers. So when I go on my quilt retreat this week, my goal is to finish up my last 4 hexagon grandmother's flower garden blocks that I need to make, and then put my quilt top together. This is going to be, it won't be a bed quilt. This will be, I'm gonna put it on the wall in my dining or informal dining area. And I love this quilt so much because I guess I'm kind of sentimental. I always think of that woman who cut out all those, or man, I don't know, person, who had all these Feedsack bits of fabric and cut out all these hexagon shapes. And then something happened and they didn't get sewn into a quilt for whatever reason. And so I just love the fact that I often think about, you know, I don't know who that person is, but whoever they are, I just think about them and the work they went to get it to this point that then I can put together in a quilt. And so I just want to honor whoever that is by completing this. So exciting to work on that this next week. What you do with those little pieces of fabric is you use a foundation paper. This is the method I'm using, a foundation paper. So I've purchased these little English paper piecing pieces already cut into hexagons. And then there's a lot of different methods you can use. Some people use like a glue stick. I tend to like to use, what is it called? It's like spray starch that you would use for ironing. I just put it in a little bowl and I actually use a Q-tip. I know, sounds crazy. And then I just dab it around the edge of this little piece. I lay my paper piece for paper piecing down on it, and then I have a little tiny iron that I use to iron the edges in, and that spray, basting spray, that like spray starch, it then dries and it's kind of like a glue. It makes it stay. And so then I hand stitch them together with little teeny tiny hand stitches. And then once I get my my flower made, then I pull out the pieces and then just sew it to the piece of background fabric. You can see that I'm gonna have a square, a diamond corner. I can't hold all 4 up together, but I'm gonna end up with these flowers with a diamond between. So if all goes well, by hopefully next week, I'll podcast again and I should have a quilt top put together to show you. So that's just a little bit about what English paper piecing is. It's kind of just a relaxing little sewing project that you can do in little bits. I like what the old-fashioned, they used to call it handwork. So you would have your work that you could, you know, something you're working on, you can do by hand. I think that's why I like knitting so much, because it really is handwork. You can pick it up, take it with you. You don't have to sit at a sewing machine to do it. Well, on mine, it will be, now I'm to the pretty close to the sewing machine part. But that's what they used to call handwork. And you would have your little hand basket that you kept your work in and take it with you. So I kind of an old soul. I sort of like the old-fashioned ways, especially the domestic arts of old-fashioned things. So this project has been fun, and I've been working on it for multiple years, pulling it out, doing one or so. So it is really time to bring this project home and get it together. But here's the thing. I'm feeling like this quilt is going to need to be hand quilted, just because it's traditional. And I do love hand quilting, but it takes me a long time. So anyway, so we might not have a speedy finish up on this project, but we'll make progress. So now that I've shown you, I have to get it put together so I can show you again next time. Anyway, if you have questions about quilting, English paper piecing, Feedsacks, be sure to let me know. You can always email me at chitchatknits@gmail.com. Leave a message on here. Tell me if you've done English paper piecing, are doing English paper piecing. I'd love to hear what you're doing. So anyway, then I told you I had one more yarn to show you. So it came in the mail yesterday. You know, they talk about happy mail. Well, here we are. Some happy mail came yesterday. This yarn is by Silly Goose Yarns. Look at her. She sent that little sticker along. This is Courtney of Silly Goose Yarn, and she lives just in Minneapolis, so not very far from me. That's her little dog on her logo there. So cute. And this is a show color. She's currently at Flock, and that's out on the West Coast. And this is her show colorway. Isn't that beautiful? It's called I Flocking Love It. And then she also sent along this little pink mini, because I want to make my new spesh cowl out of this yarn. I'm going to quick pull off the label and take it apart, because I like to take them apart and just kind of bunch it up and see what this is going to look like. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Some peach, pink, purple, a little cream. Ugh, I love it. And even this like corally color that I love so much. Pinks and purples, peach. So this is getting wound up today. And this is going to go on the needles because I love it. Isn't that pretty? Lucky me. So, lovely, 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 lovely yarn. And that's pretty much it. I can't even believe I have one pattern that I'm just swatching very start of something I'm working on. Otherwise, I have nothing else on the needles. Can you believe it? Usually I have 4 or 5 plus. So this is really unusual to not have a lot of projects on the needles. So I guess that I better be done podcasting and go do some knit casting on. I hope you've enjoyed my little chat today. I hope you are having fun with your crafting. And as we say in the Midwest, have a great day.